The birth mom returns. I am not Oop. Oop is you. Faithlessness com 820. Originally posted to RAITAH. The birth mom returns. Trigger warnings. Child abandonment. Child neglect. Emotional manipulation and abuse. Gaslighting. Less than. And NBSP. Original post November 13, 2023. AITAH for not convincing my stepdaughter to meet up with her birth mother? To give you a little bit of context, I am the stepmom, 30YO, taking care of my partner's daughter. I've known her since she was 5 and now she's turning 13. She calls me mommy and introduces me as her mom to her friends. Now there's the birth mother. She's living overseas and barely communicates with the kid. There was even a point that they didn't speak for 2 years because she doesn't call. Last time she went to see her daughter was 2019. She was here for 2 weeks but only spent 1 week with the kid and the other 1 week was spent seeing with her friends. In short, she's an absentee. My SD opened up to me saying that she doesn't want to communicate with her BM because she feels like she's a stranger to her. 3 months ago, I helped my SD to open up to her BM about what she feels and that it's going to help improve their relationship if the BM is aware of what's going on. The BM was replying for a week or 2, then became dormant again for 3 months. The next chat my SD got was the BM asking to meet up with her because she's coming back to the country for a visit. Now, we asked my SD what she feels about it and she said she doesn't want to meet her BM. She was bawling her eyes out because she doesn't want to go, but she also feels bad about feeling that way. I feel like I could still convince her to go if I wanted to and she'll listen to me, but I also think that for so long she's the one that's always adjusting for the BM. She can't do anything if the BM doesn't communicate all these years, and if she remembers to chat, SD is always expected to reply. I think it's unfair on her part since it's supposed to be the BM's obligation and responsibility to have a good communication with her daughter. What should I do? Edit. For those asking where's her dad in all of this, his POV is a bit different. He thinks that SD should give it a try at least once so that she could get her questions answered as to why her BM is like that and get closure. But he also thinks that if SD doesn't really want to do it, he won't force the issue and tell the BM what SD really wants. And NBSP. Relevant comments. The Bear of Wisdom. NTA. I'd say kiddo is old enough to decide for herself. She's having huge emotions about it and she's only a kid, so she doesn't know how to handle that yet. All you can do is what you are doing. By supporting her decision and helping her with her distress. There were times where my stepmom had to stand up for me when I didn't want to go home. She always said, I won't just let them leave knowing they're miserable. If they want to stay, they can stay as long as they want. I didn't live with my dad's family. But when I really needed a break from my abuser, it was my stepmom that made sure I knew I didn't have to leave. This situation is really difficult because what kid doesn't want their mom to just be their mom for once? She's still young and this has to be really hard for her to understand. Just make sure she knows she's safe with you and you'll listen to her no matter what she needs to say. Poor kid. I feel so bad for her. Everyone in the family keeps on telling me to convince her otherwise because she's still her mother after all. And I don't agree with that. This reaction the result of all the years of neglect she's done to my SD, and I won't force her to do anything she wouldn't want to do. She was crying last night and my heart is like crushed a million times seeing her like that. Crying. Fairy Penguin Saint Kilda. She is 13, and says that her BM feels like a stranger to her. Is the BM mentally unwell? Was there family violence in the relationship with her BM and father? She seems to be asking you if it is okay to feel weird about this. And you have supported her. Maybe it is time to speak to a professional. And have your SD talk as well. Be supportive. Be there. But she is the BM and the child is only 13. She has a long way to go. And you both have adolescence to navigate. She calls you mom. Considers you her mother. Have you adopted her legally? That might help her as well. If the BM is so absent. As far as I'm aware of, the BM doesn't have any mental issues and there has never been a violence between my husband and her when they were together. They parted ways when my SD was just too wide. If I could adopt her I would, but it would be a stretch too far and I want her to decide that for herself if that's what she wants. In my country, adoption is a bit of a difficult process. And NBSP. Update November 14th, 2023. This is an update with a little bit of a rant. Cold sweat smile. So my SD has made up her mind that she wouldn't go. We asked her to at least message the BM that she can't go and the reason behind it. This is what she said. Hello. I just want to let you know that I won't be able to meet you because I don't want to go. I mean, Papa and Mommy already told me that it's better if I go and talk to you, but I feel that I'm not ready to see you yet. She was nervous to send that and wanted to say sorry for not going, but I told her that she shouldn't apologize for saying no and that it's okay. Then after a few hours, the BM responds, I understand. It's like we haven't seen each other for so long and then I'll show up out of the blue. I know it's going to be a little awkward and there's mixed emotions. But I want you to know, no matter what happens, you're still my baby girl. You don't have much memories about me because I was already working while you were still a baby. We didn't have a choice back then because we have no money and I can't work in your country because of the visa. I didn't want to be apart from you too. I didn't expect us to be like this. This is not what I want for you and I'm sorry. I'm in your city this Saturday and Sunday. So in case you want to meet me even just for a brief moment, just message me. I will go to you. Just 10 to 30 minutes of your time would be enough. I just want to see and hug you. It's a decent reply, right? But for me, all I see is a little bit of gaslighting that she had to work for my SD and no accountability that she didn't communicate with her daughter as she should. She's saying that my SD has no memories of her. Well, duh. In this generation of modern technology where video calling is now possible, she's managed to not exist in her child's life. Also, she said that 10 to 30 minutes would be enough. I feel like she's just thinking about herself and what she would feel in that brief encounter, but she didn't consider how hurt my daughter would be. My husband, however, sees her reply as humble response, and I don't. AITAH for not being satisfied with her response on this. Edit. My husband clarified that he's not making any excuses for the BM. It's just that he has set his expectations of her so low that this response was decent enough for him. And NBSP. Relevant comments. Caroline Turpentine. NTA. She's asking for a bit much considering she hasn't seen her kid in years and barely communicates with her. I'm glad she's respecting your SD's wishes, but maybe you should talk to her about starting smaller and exchanging messages to start with, maybe moving up to video calling. Her timing is a bit suspect though. Why is she reaching out now? Just when her daughter is getting to the age where she understands she was abandoned and is able to articulate her feelings about it? I think your husband needs to ask further questions and find out if something else is going on. Is she ill? Getting married? Is she getting family pressure to bring her daughter around them? Why is this the first time she returned home in years? I have a hard time believing she's just a contrite mother looking to reconnect. Especially since she's pushing for even a brief meeting. I have a feeling it's for a photo opportunity. A few months ago, I have helped and urged my SD to open up to her BM about SD feeling like BM is a stranger. SD also said that she hopes they could slowly chat more often to get to know each other more. The BM was responding for a week or so and then became dormant again for 3 months. The next chat she sent was asking my SD to meet up because she'll be in the country, in our area for 2 days. They haven't seen each other since 2019 and all she can allot for her child are those 2 days. This makes my blood boil TBH. And NBSP. This is a repost sub. I am not oop. I just wanna let you know that I won't be able to meet you because I don't want to go. Lol. If only we could be this honest all the time. Whatever the BM's reasons. Giving her every benefit of the doubt. I guess she doesn't realize that by the age of 13, that ship has pretty much sailed. It's exceedingly difficult, if not impossible, to form a motherly bond at that point. And it doesn't really seem like she's willing to put in the work anyway. I don't think OOP needs to interfere here. SD has figured this all out already. Due to my job, every time I see BM, I read bowel movement. Seems fitting. It's nice to read a post where the stepmom is not an evil witch for once. Seems like OP is doing great stepping up as a parent to the poor kid. The dad seems like he's already fully accepted exactly who the BM is and how this is going to go. Stepmom sounds like a good parent. It must have been hard as a 22-year-old, taking care of a young child that was probably craving a lot of attention. But after reading this text, I wonder if the father even knows his daughter or the situation. His age and BM age are not mentioned, but I suspect that he is quite a bit older and found a way to save money on a nanny for his daughter. Everyone in the family is so convinced that stepmom is the go-to person to convince this poor little girl that it will be good for her to be abandoned yet another time. It feels very uncomfortable. Like stepmom is the only person in this family who the daughter trusts and the only person who actually cares for and spends time with this child. I genuinely hope that that is just how it comes across and not how it actually is. I've been the child in this situation. I'm glad this kid has OOP because it's so incredibly damaging to have people all around you insisting that they're your parent. They love you. You should make an effort when all their actions prove otherwise. And why should a literal child have to make the effort in the relationship? OOP is doing literally everything I wish I had someone do for me at that age. Edit. My husband clarified that he's not making any excuses for the BM. It's just that he has set his expectations of her so low that this response was decent enough for him. It sucks that birth mom is making so little time available, but when meeting a stranger 30 minutes feels like it's a lot of subject. Your daughter too had to laugh at the expectations being so low. So yeah, OOP is great stepmom. Bio mom sucks. Dad is fine. We're all on the same page, right? So let's move on to the more interesting topic. What is bio mom's job? My guesses are 1. Spy. 2. Internationally notorious assassin. 3. Harem girl of a sultan, sheikh. 4. Pirate queen. What are your guesses? Stepmom sounds like such a caring mommy for her SD. I think she's really lucky there. I can feel the indignation from stepmom and how she's struggling to rein in her feelings so she can support her. The need to protect is strong. I think that is really lovely. My dad disappeared out of my life for years at a time. I always had to do the work to track him down, and he'd disappear again after talking for a bit. Eventually you give up. He stopped being part of my life at 9, and at 39 he pops his head back in, wanting to be part of my life. I basically said, "Where have you been for 30 years?" He tried to blame my mom, but I wasn't having it. I have a hard time believing she's just a contrite mother looking to reconnect. especially since she's pushing for even a brief meeting. I have a feeling it's for a photo opportunity. Nailed it. Often this is because the birth parent has a new partner in their life that pushes them to reconnect with their child. So they aren't doing it at all for the child's benefit. They are doing it to appease their new romantic partner. Have personally seen this happen several times. Oop seems to be doing a great job. Not least of all venting about BM on Reddit not near SD. Maybe I have just spent too much time on Reddit recently, but I think SD should get some therapy, as she is at a point where she is trying to reconcile her relationships to Oop and BM, and someone to talk to could really help her understand and process what she feels about BM and what, if anything, she would want that relationship to be. Therapy isn't something I have done myself. British stuff upper lip don't check now. But it seems like it can really help, and things like this can eat away at people over time. And there is nothing as Kabbalistic as the inner thoughts of a teenager. My dad was in TGE Navy in several active combat zones during my youth, and he still managed to call us every week or two. And he wasn't the best dad to us as kids. This mother has no excuse, as this was over 20 years ago. Oop is doing a grand job in a difficult situation. Legally. Here. 13 is old enough to have a legal voice in custody and visitation arrangements. So you ultimately have to take a child-centric approach and respect and support SD's decision and feelings at this stage. Giving her access to impartial therapy and keeping open communication between SD and BM reminds me of a saying, shit or get off the pot. She's saying that my SD has no memories of her. Well, duh. In this generation of modern technology where video calling is now possible, she's managed to not exist in her child's life. This is a damn good point. Skype has existed for this kid's entire life. Anyone find it odd that in situations like this, where the op is clearly in the right, there is always friends and family on the other side, lol? Like, why would so many people want a young girl to have contact with an absentee mom? I sometimes feel like people just say that to give the appearance the world is against them, and they are standing up against it all. This reminds me of the Fresh Prince episode where Will's dad shows up. How difficult is a 15-minute video call every week? You can't ignore your child for months and years then just expect a relationship. Kids reach the point where they are over it, and OOP's daughter has reached that point. Guilt-tripping absentee mom deserves squat. I remember reading on a different but similar post the reason these people feel like they can drop in whenever and their child will still love them is because they're frozen the child in their minds. Like, we all know birth mom doesn't have a better idea what the kid looks like than we do.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.